good, Italian job?
I'm feeling good, Tommy boy. You're in high def. Look at that. The beard's looking solid. The eyebrows, I can see a couple hairs out of place, but high definition looks good on you.
The fact that I have hairs out of place, I'll run with it because I've got no hairs out of place on the top of my head, let alone hair at all. So it's good. I'll run with it. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. It's been a good week, but I know you're excited. You've got, we've been talking about NGBN and our partnership with NGBN, and right now we've got friends on Radio Row from NGBN recording with. Yesterday, I saw our friend Hello Kitty. He was recording with, I think it was Rod Woodson was one of them, and all kinds of professional
There was a rotating
athletes.
cast of characters.
I mean, I'm a bit envious, but they look good. But how are you doing, man? With your team going to the big game this weekend?
Yeah, I'm trying not to get my hopes up because we've been there before. But look, on behalf of all of America that isn't a Cowboy fan, I hope that the Niners pull out a victory so we have one more ring on the finger than the Cowboys do. Because at the end of the day, the Cowboys can get the finger for all I care. But who's bitter, right? So now I'm looking forward to it. I grew up in California, got to go see a game early on when I was in third grade. I got to meet Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, so I was hooked ever since, right? So how do you turn back from that? I do have to say thank you once again for a great running back coming over from your team to play for the Niners. So thank you for that.
For the sake of Christian McCaffrey and our past head coach, who is now your defensive coordinator, I hope Steve Wilkes and Christian McCaffrey get a special ring, and I also support your give the finger to the Dallas Cowboys. With that being said,
do you know the generational connection with this Super Bowl with the McCaffreys and the Shanahans?
Well, I do know that I know McCaffrey used to be babysat by Shanahan, the head coach for San Francisco, but tell me about the generational piece.
There's some father-son stuff going on there that's going to be pretty cool. So I'm sure they'll talk about it, but that's for another NGBN show, right? Right? Here we are, F3 Stuff Worth Trying. Our whole existence is to connect great ideas to great men, as well as on the NGBN side, and I know the mental battle side of F3, is to make sure that we're present and accountable for men who are hurt, that are looking for community, that are looking for connection, and to find their purpose, right? And so that became really real this weekend. I found out an old friend of mine from my Wyoming days made a permanent decision around a temporary problem, really been struggling for a long time. I did not know that. Sounds like none of his Wyoming friends really knew that. And you hate to hear that because this guy had a big heart. He would be the first person to show up if you asked for help. And I think he probably shouldered too many burdens and didn't have enough outlets to share that with. And so our work here is really important, and our work here is really real. And I'm grateful to be doing life alongside of you in this endeavor, which brings us to a really inspired story this week that came across once again in true SWT fashion. Under the gun, spur of the moment, and guys reached out from the Central Illinois region to share a great story. And so I'll hand it over to you because you had first point of contact to bring on our guest.
So we heard from the Nantan, and for those not in F3, Nantan is kind of our leader of our local regions out of Central Illinois. Chumbucket reached out to us and told us about Splinter. And Splinter has an inspirational story that we're excited to share. So I'm just going to unmute the man, bring him in, and say, Splinter, welcome to Stuff Worth Trying. I got to know how long you've been doing F3 and how did you get that name Splinter?
Well, thanks. I've been doing F3 since February 11th, 2023.
Oh, you're rolling up on 1 year in just a matter of 2 days.
Yes, absolutely. And I worked. The gentleman at the first F3 I went to, you know how they do it. They ask a little bit about you, a funny story, this or that, and tell us a little bit about you. So I told them that I had worked in the sewer department for the town of Normal. I was a sewer worker for years, and automatically they said Splinter, and so. Me as an old man, I didn't know who Splinter was, so I just went along with it because I was new that day.
You just smile and nod.
Yeah, and said, I'm not gonna, whatever. And so I got home and I told my wife. She asked me how it went today, and I said I got a nickname Splinter, and she said, "Okay." So I punched it in on my phone, and it said Ninja Turtle, sewer rat Ninja Turtle, and so that's how it all happened. So
Sounds like you had a Gen X Hemi AO that day. Excuse me.
Yeah, and like I'll tell you right up front, man, I'm not real good with phones and IT or technology or anything. And my wife always says I'm the last one left on Earth that knows anything about it. So yeah, we had to punch that in to find out it was the Ninja Turtle, the Master Splinter. Yeah,
you're
sewer rat.
You're exactly right. He trained up the Ninja Turtles. That was I watched that show as a kid. My son watches that show, so I dig it, man. That's so good.
It was good. It was yes.
I like that. So Tommy boy, the story that we heard that came across our desk is Splinter, 60 years old. He was just recently diagnosed with cancer, and his inspirational story, it's not just that he's battling cancer, it's that he's going through treatment and continuously posting, and the guys around him just can't help but get better and be motivated. So Splinter, man, tell us about that. What does it mean to you? You get this diagnosis and you've got this new group of guys around you. Just tell us how it all went down, how it feels to have that support system.
It's amazing. I can't tell you enough how wonderful it is. August 20th of last year, I was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. And so it couldn't be removed. Usually men's prostate cancer, they can remove it, but mine couldn't be removed because it spread and it got into the lymph nodes. So you know how anybody else says, you hear the word cancer, you think, it's over. But, I just went to Northwestern in Chicago. They explained the whole plan. That they have a plan. So when you have a plan, I'm all for it. That's all I can do is put all my trust in you on that plan. And I'm a spiritual man, so I have a lot of trust in my Lord and Savior. But I came to F3 that next time, and when we did our COT, I shared that I had a prostate cancer, and I'll be working through it, and hopefully I can keep coming, and they said, the doctor told me up at Northwestern, he said, no matter what, Greg, don't let it get in your head. You stay focused. And I thought, what a better place I am in with these men of F3 keeping me focused. So, when I first started, Mudslide said, Greg, I said, I'm not a runner, you guys. I smoked cigarettes and cigars for a long time as a city worker because that's a rough smell. You know what I'm saying? So he said, Greg, maybe we'll work towards a 5K next year on your birthday. And so I said, that'd be great, but it's going to take a year, because my birthday was February 8th, which was yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy belated.
Thank you. And so we got to it. A couple weeks ago, Mudslide said, Greg, you still going to queue on your birthday, and what your legs are giving out. I'm on a medicine, a hormone therapy medicine that it weakens your bones in your legs, and it can. And so I just keep going to F3, and I modify my workout. And so he said, we're going to have that. You're going to queue on your birthday, and we talked about that 5K last year, and that's not a problem. We can do it some other time. You're 3 weeks into radiation and other stuff. And he said, I said, no, how about if we just see if it works? I'm not a runner still, and I can't sprint or run. He said, well, we can walk or jog it. It doesn't matter. We're here for you. And so 21 or 22 of my brothers showed up from F3 from 3 different locations, and we got it done. And I did my 5K. I got a dog tag here that says Splinter's 5K, 42.32 is what it took me to do it.
Nice.
But we got it done, we got it done.
100%.
No speed at all, and everybody was there with me, and it was the most amazing thing ever. I've been on this earth, well, as of yesterday, 60 years, and I've never had a fellowship of men that I just believe in, love, and trust more than anything in the world. And this is where that cancer's second now in my mind. You know what I'm saying? I'm living today, and I got these brothers, and I see them on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and it's amazing. I couldn't tell you how wonderful it is and how it just changes you completely when you know you
Wow.
have men walk alongside of you, no matter what you're going through, and encourage you to keep rolling.
And Splinter,
Yeah.
we're talking men who are younger, same age.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're talking guys
Yeah.
who could be in their 20s or guys who
Yeah.
could be in their 40s, 60s,
Yeah.
70s, 80s, whatever it is. So we're
I
not
mean,
just talking
yeah.
peers.
Yeah, no, these are young men. These are young men that are just amazing, and the heart for the F3 Nation or program that I'm in that we have over here in Central Illinois. It's unbelievable. I was telling my wife, if men only knew, it should be 400,000 deep.
Wow.
We should be, you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it's not just the workout. Granted, in a year's time, gentlemen, I've lost 30 pounds.
Nice.
And I feel healthy and I feel good. And I'm going through this cancer and radiation, and the doctors are like, Greg, do not change your lifestyle. Whatever you do, keep it out of your head.
It's working.
And they said,
Yeah.
and I said, I got a crew of men named F3. You ever heard of it? And the Northwestern Chicagos are like, no, never heard of it in their life. I said, let me explain it to him. He says, that's what you need to do. And I said, I'm going to keep doing it.
Outstanding. I hear a lot of that's what you should keep do from doctors and physical therapists. I don't know if it's because that we're healthy or we keep hurting ourselves and that they get the boat payments.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
regardless, the fact that they support us is a good thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Here's what I love when you were telling your story. A couple of bookends popped up, and really it's the fact that that there's a plan, right? And once you open yourself up to the plan and allow yourself to work the plan, a lot of doors start to become available to be opened, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the F3 legend that we hear time and time again from guys.
Yes.
I mean, there's podcasts popping up in regions across the country all the time telling the was/now story. A guy was this guy, found F3, and now he is this man.
Yes.
And I hear that in you working the plan, not only with your cancer treatment and surrounding yourself with the people that love and care about you and will show up at a moment's notice, but also how you've become like this sunshine bazooka and ray of light for them to find inspiration and motivation. And then here you are on your 60th birthday yesterday, and it doesn't matter how long it took you to get it done. You worked the plan and got the 5K done. And I love that Chum Bucket just took it upon himself, unprompted, to shout you out and let us know, A, what you're going through, but B, how your power of positivity, your IPA, the infectious positive attitude. I mean, I'm just reading this paragraph here, and it's like, A, I don't know a lot of guys who take time to write at all, let alone write about their friends and other men. But here he is, took out some time, told us your story in a nutshell, and already I was like, IJ, let's go run through walls until we find Splinter and hear his story.
No, well, thank you.
Well, I mean, attitude really is everything. And I mean, I can think of a list of people I'd love to connect you with just for a phone conversation even because they need to know that, it is hard. And we're in F3 to learn how to do hard things together, not to do hard things by ourselves, right?
Yeah. And no matter what in life, guys, the battle's already won. Whatever happens in life, the battle's won. And to fight that battle with them F3 people, your F3 brothers, makes it so much simpler and makes it so much more powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, many hands make light work.
Yes, and Chum Bucket, Mudslide, I can go on and on. Gentlemen, I've never seen these men a day in my life. I've been in Central Illinois for 59 years and covered a lot of ground. And men that don't even know who you are show nothing but full respect and care about another human being. You're not losing me.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I can't say enough about it.
It really is interesting to see how it takes a really hard workout to wake a man up, or maybe remind a man of his full potential.
Yeah.
Right. We've all been there and suffered through the muck and all that. You're like, why am I doing this? And then somewhere in that mix of chaos, you realize that, and we say it all the time, it's not about me. It's about the guys next to me.
That's right.
And how they show up for each other and how they show up for me and people that don't look like me and strangers even.
Yes.
And when you're dialed into that kind of energy, it's impossible to not get pulled in and for lack of a better term, just fall in love with it, right?
Oh, unbelievable. It's not the workout for me no more. It's the fellowship. It's the F3, my brothers, I can do the deal. You know what I'm saying? Some of them are a little harder than others, and I'm thinking, wow, that guy's leading today. He's got that COT today, but it doesn't matter. Just showing up and being with true brothers in life. Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I've got a few guys that have came that I've told about and they've stayed and other ones have gone on, but it really doesn't matter. I'm not leaving. I
was about to say your next mission needs to be on your next birthday. It needs to be that you bring 4 FNGs with you because their names are already picked out, right?
Oh, that's right.
There's 4 unnamed turtles that need to be tagged in Central Illinois.
Right. Yes, there is. I love it.
So let me ask you this, just because you've shared that already that this is a younger crowd, right, that rallied around you to be there on your journey. There's thousands of men out there, right, that are seeking what we have. For those that are already dialed in, and for those on the NGBN network that are hearing us for the first time, everybody gets hit with something at least once in their life. What would you with this Band-Aid being fresh ripped off, what would your advice be to those folks out there
that have a down?
That maybe just got life sweep the leg.
All I can do is just. Just like they shared with me up in Chicago, Greg, you got to keep that thinking apparatus focused on everything. Because when you hear the word cancer, you think it's over. It's over. People he said, Greg, you got to keep that thing focused because it'll be a tough run for you. But what I share to people is, it's men only. I talk to a lot of ladies in the world too that are in our church and in our, in my family and everything. But all I say is, stay focused, but don't do it alone. Do not do this thing called life alone ever.
100%.
We have our families, but we got to have brothers. I have to have brothers in my life that I can trust and love and share experience, strength, and hope with. And just build a brotherhood up. And F3 is. I've told so many people about F3 because they're like, I've been in this town a long time, and they're like, great, never heard of it, but it looks like it's working because you look like you lost some weight,
Yeah.
And, but you know what? Your question you were asking, it's the mind, that tells us who we are and who we aren't. And then when you got a group of men standing around you telling you that they love you, they're here for you, and we're going to do this together, like I say, the battle is won. Yeah. And they've been so, I can't believe they didn't find him 10 years ago. I don't even know when the F3 started or whatever because I haven't looked too deep into it. But, this has been one of the greatest things in my life. Besides my, I love my family's number one, and my Lord and Savior, but my brothers of F3, I can't even tell you. And what's crazy is when a new one comes, you feel it already. He's part of you. That first, what'd you call it? LFGs?
FNG, friendly new guy.
Yeah, that's right. You guys got FNGs. The first FNG, we had one show up yesterday at the birthday on the 5K.
Yeah. It's palpable.
We're already attached.
Yeah.
I pray he comes back.
Yeah.
Because we need him. We need him to be part of this fellowship. And what I got to say is that I can't say enough, of the brotherhood of F3.
Here's what's powerful to me too, and IJ, I want to throw it over to you as well. I've got a question for you, but Splinter, you're 12 years my senior. You're 12 years my big brother. How's that?
Wow.
And you have, your energy and excitement for F3 is the same as every guy I've seen from 75 to 5, right? When a dad brings their kid out and they just see big kids like us having fun. There's something about that connection, right? And
Sure.
I know that IJ and I have talked before about things like being part of a tribe or being part of a community. I've experienced firsthand what makes F3 different is the community focus versus the tribal focus. A tribe tends to operate in a position of scarcity. You think back to colonial days and any tribe in any country, they have to move where the resources are. Whereas the F3 community is abundant with all the things that we've been seeking. In fact, there's so much abundance that we're called to give it away for free. There's no money that changes hands for what we're talking about. It's only the ability to show up or be dragged out by the guy that sees something in you that you don't see in yourself.
That's right.
Absolutely.
IJ, my question for you is, because we can't, coming up on the Easter season, right? We can't celebrate Easter without having gone through a Good Friday and understanding the gift that we have, right? We can't love F3 without suffering through a handful of really hard boot camp workouts or running a 5K, right, for the first time in a long time. What drew you out of that Good Friday, that darker time of the sad clown, being happy on the outside, miserable on the inside, and brought you into the revelation of what Splinter's talking about? This F3 thing is a wealth for me.
Yeah, Tommy boy, how many times have you heard this? I didn't know I needed it until I found it. I didn't know I needed F3 until I found F3. I didn't know I was missing what I have in F3 until I found it. I didn't realize how dark things had been until I was surrounded by men who were illuminating a path and saying, hey, I'm just a beggar showing another beggar where to find bread. And for them to show me this and to live a lifestyle that I admire, and I want to be a better leader for my wife and my children. I want to be a better leader in my church, in my workplace, in my community. How do you get better at running a 5K? You run with men who run 5Ks. How do you get better at doing push-ups? You do more push-ups. Well, how do you get better at being a leader? You surround yourself with leaders. And I've been blessed in almost 11 years of F3. I've had F3 longer than my children have been around. So that has given me the clarity of mind. I'm surrounding myself with fathers and men that I admire the way that they have raised their children. And they are willing to say, hey, brother, before you touch that stove, let me tell you it's hot. And here's the scar on my hand to show it to you. That means the world to me, having a mentor relationship with men that I would never meet. I mean, Splinter, you said it. You've lived in this town for 59 years and you had never met any of these men. And chances are you're not going to run across another one of these guys just randomly and have the types of heartfelt conversations. You don't just approach a guy in a grocery store and say, hey, let me tell you, young man, about X, Y, and Z. Or he's not going to say, hey, I'm struggling with my marriage. What do you have to say about that? F3 has been that avenue and that springboard for men to open up their hearts, open up their minds, and get stronger physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And it's all because we surround ourselves with other men who are advancing the ball, sticking with the football mentality. If I want to score a touchdown, it is not just me. The center has to snap the ball to the quarterback. The offensive line has to protect from a blindside hit. The receivers have to run their routes. The running back has to go out in the flats. Very few quarterbacks are going to take a snap and take it to the end zone without any help. As a matter of fact, I've never seen it. You've got to surround yourself with teammates who are going to get you to that point. And guess what happens when a man scores a touchdown? Every man on that team is in the end zone celebrating with him. It's the same thing with F3.
Absolutely.
You got to have that. I've got a question for you, Splinter. You're going through treatment currently, and we make up excuses all the time. It's too cold. I don't want to go out there. I'm too tired. I didn't get enough sleep last night. What would you say to guys who have the excuse in the can, ready to say, I'm just not going to do it? Because clearly you have no excuses. There is no excuse. You just do. So I'm struggling. I don't want to go out. It's just too cold. What do you have to say to the guy who says, I just can't. I just don't want to, or it's just too much?
I tell them that they got to push through it. You got to get up, bud. Our COT yesterday, Mudslide, did part of our Circle of Trust, and then I shared a little bit. But it was about hitting that snooze button, too tired, not wanting to come, been up all night. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely not. No excuses. Because when a man comes out, no matter how hard he fights to get there, he'll be changed when he leaves. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I've seen it in a year's time.
Goosebumps.
I've seen it in life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I don't care what it takes sometimes, but you'll be completely changed when you get back in your car after your F3. Your F3. Mm-hmm. And I tell him that. I said, you know, and I, you know, I'm sort of harsh a little bit sometimes, but and I shouldn't say that because I'm trying to be a better man. But anyway, I tell him, if it doesn't work, I'll pay you. I'll bet you. You know, I know gambling's not the way to live, but I'm like, I will bet you it will change your thinking, and I've seen it happen. But I still have guys that struggle getting up.
Yeah.
I think it was just last week we said, you know, there have been workouts that were really, really hard to get to, but I've never left a workout where I thought I wish I hadn't shown up.
No,
Tommy
absolutely
Boy,
not. You're right.
Question for you, Tommy Boy. We're running, kind of coming up against the time. There are people who are watching right now for the very first time. They don't know what F3 is. They you know, tell me what the 3 Fs are and how do guys find F3 close by or wherever they're located?
Yeah, the quick elevator pitch, right, is that F3 is a men's personal and leadership development program disguised as a free boot camp workout, right? The first F stands for fitness. We're trying to get better, and we start with our physical body. The second F is the fellowship. Just like IJ said, Italian Job said, you can't do this by yourself, so stop pretending and surround yourself with people that care about you and want to see you get better, as well as be your guardrails when you're being a jackass. And the third F is the faith component. And we define that as a belief in something bigger than yourself. You could call that Jesus. You could call that Muhammad. You could call that the neighborhood, right? As long as you're serving something outside of yourself, that's a toe in the water that is faith. And all those components come together just to make us better husbands, better men, better brothers, better friends, coworkers, you name it. And if any of that is compelling, it's as simple as hopping on f3nation.com. typing in your region, your zip code on the map, and finding out what workout is near you. If this is super exciting for you and that map isn't close to proximity of where you are, reach out to us. There's a contact right there on that page and say, I want to get something started. And just like the quarterback motif, we'll show up, we'll run block and tackle while you set up a region in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Wow.
Splinter,
Yeah.
any last words you want to share to the men or maybe even wives who are listening about F3 and why we should do it?
I'm going to share something real quick. When I got diagnosed, they said, Greg, there's nothing we can do down here. You have to get to Northwestern in Chicago. And I don't know, that night at 7 o'clock, my doorbell rings, and my front yard is full of 3 American flags and 3 F3 flags on a shovel stuck in my yard. The wind was blowing and we're flying, and my brothers were there. And I said, well, let me get a picture of this, and you guys can take the flags. They said, no, you look at them flags when you drive out of here in the morning, because I had an appointment to be up to Chicago. You know what I'm saying? They said, Greg, we'll leave them flags. We need them here all night, and then we'll get them. But I want you to be able to pack out your driveway. And I mean, you know, it choked me up, and that's what it's about, gentlemen. We don't have to do this life alone. And with a fellowship like a community like F3 will change your life forever. And I'm not just saying that, you guys. I've been through a lot in this life. You know, I've been through a lot. And I just want to say to anybody out there that just come one time. Just come and see who we are. And all we are is another brother loving another brother, you know, and here to help you and be there for you whenever we'll walk right alongside your life with you. It's just not that workout that morning, you know.
Woo! That's a commercial right there.
I gotta go.
That's
dude,
a wrap.
I'm ready to run through a brick wall. I don't know about UTV, but I'm ready to roll. It's just
I'm ready to jump
fantastic.
into a sewer with this man, dude.
I know, right?
No more retired.
I'll Shawshank Redemption the hell out of this thing.
There you go. But yeah, that's what I say about it. I'm so
love
blessed and to meet you two gentlemen. I'll always have you in my mind the rest of my life. If I don't see you here on earth, I'll see you in heaven or something.
That's right.
Someday. You never know.
You'll hear plenty from us. We don't show up much.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna try to code it a little bit. These guys are working me.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are working me. But it's all out of love. It's unbelievable. I wouldn't get through this cancer. And I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but with these boys, I believe the battle is won.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what.
100%, brother. Splinter, I can't thank you enough, man. This is it's currently overcast and cloudy in Greensboro, North Carolina, but it feels like the sun is in full focus just from sitting down with you. So thank you so much for just being open and honest. And as always, these conversations aren't pre-planned. We literally just met 15 minutes before we hit go on this thing. And it just goes to show that when we're given the opportunity to share our story, that one man's vulnerability leads to the validation of so many others. So thank you for validating so many struggles that are out there right now and reminding guys to not get locked up in their head, but to open their hearts to that community of men that are out there seeking ways to be of service to one another.
Yes. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
And it's
nice. Any final thoughts, or should we land the plane? What do you think?
I'll tell you what, man. I don't know if I can add anything. Splinter absolutely crushed it, but in SkyQ fashion, I write something every morning. I wrote something 4 hours before we hit record today. And you just tell me if maybe this sounds familiar with anything that Splinter just said. So when things get tough, do you quit or you dig deeper? When you get the outcome you don't expect, do you pout or do you drive on? You may not always be able to control the outcome, but you can control your attitude and your effort. Don't let outside influences redirect your inward drive. Well, that sounds a lot like what we just talked about, courtesy of our brother Splinters. So that just tells you, guys, you are not alone. Whatever it is that you think you're going through right now, I can't go any further. You can. When your mind says, I'm done, you got more in the tank. And when you think, you know what, I'm just gonna walk away from it. Don't. Please don't. Raise your hand. We men were taught to not ask for help, and it's a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of weakness. When you need help, raise your hand. You want to know what strength is? Saying, can you help me out? And you know what a good leader does? Absolutely, I'll help you out. As a matter of fact, you're going to help me while I help you. That's what we do. It's living life together with men who have been there before, are currently there with you, or will go through it at some point. So you're riding this ship together. We are battling together. So Splinter, dude, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing a little bit of motivation and inspiration to guys who never heard your story. And I promise you this will have an impact and it's going to land in somebody's heart. So thank you so much. Tommy Boy, always an honor, my friend. Love you. I appreciate you. And I can't wait for us to get together again sometime soon.
One of these days. Never above, never below, always beside. Folks, thanks for watching. As always, be good or be good at it. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, brother. Love you guys.